Welcome to Real Estate Powerhouse, live on Tap Talks with your host, Taliya, top real estate attorney and negotiation expert. This is your opportunity to get the inside scoop and hear straight from top real estate agents in the business. Broadcasting live from New York City, learn the secrets of their success and hear the most authentic, real, unfiltered stories about how they got to where they are today. From their wins to their failures to the biggest lessons of their careers and what keeps them rising to the top. And now, here is your host attorney, Taliya Bashani.
Okay, welcome back with part 2 of the show with Miriam from the Serhant team out in Long Island. So Miriam, I want you to tell us what the biggest game changer of your career was.
Oh, wow. I'm going to say joining Serhant. I really believe that it, set me on a different trajectory with social media, with content creation. It really kind of, gave me that confidence in that arena that I needed. That, it felt great when they reached out to me and said, "We're noticing you." I was, "Oh, it's working," So.
You're like, good, I'm getting the attention and yeah, because I'm sure you were entertaining, different brokerages and trying to, figure out, especially in New York when there's so many to pick from.
Right? Look at this crazy girl.
We want her. Come aboard.
Exactly.
All right, fantastic. So what would your advice be, being that you've been, through kind of like, you've gone through the motions, you've been through the ups and downs, you've seen the market, the highs and the lows. What would your advice be to new agents that are getting started in the business? Like, maybe some of the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way, mistakes that possibly you made that, you've learned from. What would be the best advice to new agents looking to get started?
I would say there is no time like now. You have to get in at some point, and this might be the best time, being that, things kind of have simmered a little bit with the rates getting, creeping up to 8 or over 8. I think it's a good time to get in and learn the lay of the land while things are, simmering, I guess. I think everyone's hope is that something gives and that we see a light at the end of the tunnel next year. But, it's a good time to get in and to learn. And you can get your license. That's great. But you need to go somewhere where they're going to educate you on the day-to-day.
Yeah, exactly. Because, as we know, once you go through real estate school and, you pass the exam and you get your license, and then it's just like, okay, you're ready to sell. It's really, you have to kind of get, knee deep into the process and into the business and gain that experience, because a lot of people, they just, you have to, sink or swim, especially in this industry when it's so competitive. So I think it's great, like you said, especially joining a team and a brokerage that can really help you, gain that knowledge and experience so that you could really be proficient as a real estate agent.
Absolutely. And I would also say to help as many agents around you as possible, because you learn through those experiences. You may not be getting paid, but you learn through other agents who've been there, done that. Go and help them with their open houses, ask them if they need anything. And that's how you learn. That's probably the best way to go about it, is, to see who needs help them with their open houses and just listen.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Now let's talk a little bit about, we know inventory right now is, still a little low. Sellers are kind of, unless they really have to sell, they're not really listing their property, especially with the rising interest rates. They're like, well, why would I downsize to another property and pay the same amount, that I'm paying for this larger property? And, buyers who really need to buy are looking for a deal because they're watching their monthlies, and with the interest rates being where they're at, it's, it's kind of hard to, bridge the gap. So what are you guys finding, especially in the Long Island market, how you are overcoming those challenges and making deals happen?
Well, let me preface this with saying that Long Island is still in a very strong seller's market.
Okay.
It's a little volatile still. So you'll have some properties that are just sitting and maybe not getting as many bites. And that could be for a million reasons. But for the most part, there's still multiple offers and homes are moving, rapidly.
Okay. Oh, great.
Yeah,
So you're
so
getting multiple bidding wars, or?
there's just such low inventory on Long
Yeah.
Island. It
Okay.
is what it is. We are a little market bubble over here.
Yeah.
Very different. So,
Sure.
and very much in the $500,000 to $700,000 range. That's a really aggressive, competitive.
Sweet spot.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, I'm still seeing it. I just the other day, one of my buyers had a bid on a home that went 200,000 over.
oh my gosh, over asked 200K?
13 offers. I was like, what is this?
Wow.
Yeah. So keep in mind, there's people in the market with cash sit around right now,
Right.
and they're
Right.
ready to buy, and the rates have no effect on whether or not they're purchasing.
Right. So that's what I was going to ask you. So are you getting a lot more all cash offers?
Some of my buyers are all cash, and yes, you're seeing that a little bit more, not tremendous, but a little bit more.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. So what is your take? So, the buzz around the industry is, the whole new REBNY change in the law regarding co-broking. And now, instead of the listing agents co-broking directly with the buyer's agents and determining the split, okay, now these sellers are paying the buyer's agents directly. What is your take on this new change in the law? And do you feel like it's going to affect your practice or your market by virtue of this change?
Yes and no. I think, I'm still going to have the conversations with sellers that, it's important to offer a buyer's agent, money for their work, basically.
Yeah.
So it's all negotiable, obviously, and
Sure.
it doesn't daunt me on the other side of that, because there's been instances where there hasn't been any commission offered on a home, and I've negotiated my commission in. So I think it's just going to put the onus more on the buyer's agent, of course, and
Yes.
I think you'll just have to, as a buyer's agent, be a better communicator and make sure that you're very transparent with the buyers on how this actually goes down.
Yeah, and I think it, hopefully will safeguard a lot of buyers agents, because, there are listing agents out there that, refuse to co-broke, and if they get a call from a buyer's agent, with, an interested buyer, they aren't responsive, or they ignore, or they don't set up the appointment because they're looking for a direct deal. And, a lot of them are discount brokers, quote unquote. And, they want to keep the full commission, and they don't co-broke. So I'm hoping now maybe it would actually let more buyer's agents get their foot in the door for those properties, for their clients, because they could actually reach out to the seller directly and say, hey, I have, a potential buyer for you. What's your commission structure, for me as a buyer's agent? So I do
That's
see,
very
I know
interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting angle.
yeah, I mean, I've heard it, from several different agents, especially in the boroughs, Brooklyn and Queens. It's a lot of those, agents are not REBNY members. They subscribe to a different MLS, and, they just kind of run their own show. It's the Wild Wild West. So I'm thinking that now, hopefully, with buyers agents able to, contact sellers directly and not rely on a listing agent for the co-broke, that their fee can already be negotiated, in advance. So I know it's, a lot of different thoughts and opinions on it. It doesn't take effect until January 1, but I think people are really kind of waiting to see how it's going to play out and affect our industry. So it should be interesting. I don't know if you guys as a company or brokerage have started addressing it at sales meetings or anything like that, or discussing it further.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we talked about it coming into play in the future, but hopefully it doesn't change things drastically.
Yeah, hopefully everybody, obviously acts honestly and above board, because at the end of the day, you guys are all here to, facilitate sales and make sure that the real estate, transactions keep on moving. So that's the important part to keep in mind. So, Miriam, tell us a little bit about what your future career goals are. Like, what do you see for yourself in the next 5 years? Is there anything that you are passionate about, that you really want to advance your career, or any thoughts that you have?
Well, I promised myself I would do more podcasts.
Oh, good. Okay. Yay.
So thank you for the invite.
All right. Well, I'm opening the door for you.
And, for me, I'm always thinking about social media, and I do want to, start to speak more on my page. I know I have some speaking things in there, and I have I pinned a reel at the top of my page that's basically who am I, and I'm talking very briefly about me.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to speak more on my page, and that's a goal of mine. In terms of Serhant, I'm very happy, feel very lucky to be with a brokerage, and I'm very happy with everything at this moment in time.
Okay, great. And are you going to be, expanding your team or expanding your territory? I know in Long Island there's really not that many co-ops or condos. Or do you do mainly houses, or do you do
I do
condos?
mainly homes, single family.
Mainly homes. Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to come into the city a little bit and work with us over here, or are you still pretty much
Everyone makes it look so good, let me tell you.
I know. It's very tempting.
It is very tempting, but no, I am very happy on Long Island.
Yeah.
I like don't get me wrong, I love the city. I'm about a 35-minute train ride into the city. I can go anytime, but I love Long Island. I'm happy working this market, and I like residential sales. I'm content at this moment in time. I don't think that's going to shift for me. I don't have any major plans, but yeah.
Well, look, a lot of people, they're a territory expert. Where you live is what you know best, right? So it's like, where the great restaurants are, and the great schools, and, the different attractions, and, where, how close you are to the ocean and things like that. So it's really probably makes sense, for somebody who is so familiar and such an expert in your territory to sell in their territory, because it definitely, you get the job done.
Whenever I'm invited, though, to see a penthouse or anything in the city, I'm in. I love it. It's so beautiful. It's so breathtaking.
Well, that's what's so great, is that you have access to so many great, events and broker launches and new devs and, things like that, that it's, you can have a little bit of everything, in your pot.
Yep.
So tell us, if you were to write your own autobiography about your life and about your experience in the real estate world, what would the title be? I love this question because it's always a stumper.
I know. I live, laugh, listings. I don't know. So eat, pray, listings.
Eat, pray, listings. That's so beautiful. I love that. Did you just come up with that, like, on the fly? Yes. That's really good.
I really, it would have to encompass who I am and where I'm at in my life right now. And where I'm right now is I'm very content, very happy. Mentally, I feel very good about where I'm at in life. I don't have, I say this all the time. When I go on social media, I don't have an ego about who I am. I'm just trying to have fun and be myself. And I think that's, very different from where I was at in my early 20s. And I like that I've kind of evolved into this very comfortable in my own skin. Okay.
So, oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Good. All right. Perfect. Well, I can't wait to read that book. I'll be looking.
What's yours? How about yours?
My autobiography. I was going to say, mine would probably be, gosh, that's a really good question. I thought of it at one point. It would be, I am woman, hear me roar. Because I'm all about including femininity, with being, a boss lady and, and empowerment and empowering women, so for me, it'd be, I am woman, hear me roar, for sure.
That's amazing. I love it. It's so you.
It's so me. Yeah, exactly. But good, you stumped me on that one because it's funny because I'm the one that like comes up with the questions, and then when you shoot it back to me, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't think so.
Not so easy now, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I know. So, my last question for you is, since you do take a good balance of exclusive listings and, and buyers, what do you think really goes into preparing a listing for sale to get it at top dollar?
It is so important, especially right now in this market, to price the home accurately. I took this pricing strategy. I'm a pricing strategy advisor. It's a continuing ed course, and you get a certification, and it's really great because it shows you how to actually price homes really, really accurate. And it's been very successful for me because the homes I have sold have all gone over asking. So I know it works. And it's important for sellers to listen to their agents and to trust them as their advisors.
Yeah.
When you get into a situation where the seller's dictating the sale, it usually doesn't turn out the way that you need it to. And I think that's the biggest, hurdle right now is some sellers still have 2020 on their mind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And what about when showing older properties, maybe properties that haven't been renovated as recently, or maybe they haven't really touched it in 10 years. Other than price, is there a way to really showcase like the highlights of those properties, to give the buyers the vision?
Definitely virtual staging. I mean, that's pretty much been done a long time, but I would lean heavily on social media.
Okay.
Yeah. And to me, that's the future of real estate in general. And everything that we're doing now, this podcast, YouTube especially, more so I would say than Instagram.
Yeah.
Getting those listings on there, presenting them in a way that markets them for whatever it is that you want to highlight.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about technology is that you can focus on actually the true highlights, and what really makes the property shine is you can showcase that, and you don't have to show the ugly stuff, because that can be fixed. So I love that. Well, thank you so much for all of the great insight and your advice today. It was so wonderful having you on the show. And if our listeners and viewers want to reach out and connect with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
They can email me at miriam@serhant.com. Or you can follow me on Instagram. You can slide into my DMs. It's at Miriam Realtor.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you soon.
You've been tuning into Real Estate Powerhouse live on Tab Talks with your host attorney, Taliya Bashani. For more information, please visit tali360.com. You can watch this show streaming live on StreamYard and available across all social media outlets, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook Live, and more. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, and questions, and please share this show with your network.